Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to learn about AWS Simple Storage Services, which is popularly known as the S3, which we will discuss what S3 is, the benefits of S3, features of S3, and then we move on to a demo session. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and share for others to know. So when you talk of S3, what is S3? Now, S3 is an object storage service. It is an object storage service which is scalable, highly available, very secured, and gives a very good performance. So basically, S3 is an object storage. Now, what do we mean by object? Now, when you talk of object could be ordinary file, okay, a file like PDF, maybe an Excel file, maybe a Word file, maybe a movie file, or music file, okay. That is an object. So such kind of files are considered as object for S3 to be able to store such files. Okay, now what are some of the benefits of using S3? Now the first benefit of using S3 is scalability. What does scalability mean? It means that virtually you can store any amount of data with S3 without affecting performance. Okay, so S3 is an elastic service. What it means is that the more it expands, okay. Likewise, if you remove or delete files, it also shrinks. So as you keep on adding, it expands. As you remove, it shrinks down. That makes it an elastic service, which is able to scale up and then scale down. So S3 has the scalability benefit. The second thing that S3 offers us is durability and availability. So S3 is designed such that it provides 11 nines, okay, 11 nines of data durability. When you talk of 11 nines, that is 99 points. So it's able to provide data durability, meaning that it can store, it can save it without corrupting it, and then it provides 99.99%. This is in percentage. 99.99% availability, meaning that it is 99% available anytime you want it. Meaning it also means that there is little downtime with S3. The next benefit is that S3 provides security and data protection. S3 provides security and data protection. What this means is that data stored on S3 is highly secured and then provides compliance and access control capability. Okay, so compliance and access control capabilities. So S3 is also encrypted by default. It is encrypted by default. So data at rest, data in transition, they are all encrypted on S3. It provides maximum security by you having access control over the data. Okay. The last benefit is that S3 has the lowest, provides you with the lowest price while giving you highest performance. Okay, now with this, because S3 has multiple storage classes. It is able to vary its prices with all the storage classes whilst giving you highest performance. If you want to retrieve data that has been archived, it is very low. The price for an archive data service is very low, okay, whilst compared to the ones that are frequently accessed, like the S3, normal S3 service. Okay, so different classes provides you with different price rates, and the more it is not frequently accessed, the lower the price, while it is giving you highest performance. Now let's quickly jump onto the features of S3. Now the first feature is that objects, S3 stores data as objects within bucket. Okay, it stores data as objects within buckets. I've told you that an object is just a file, and then the metadata that describes that particular file. Let me just quickly write it. So an object is a file, okay, and the metadata that describes it, that describes the file. So an example, as I explained earlier, is a normal PDF file, an Excel file, a Word file, a music file, a video file, any other file, okay, is stored on S3 as an object. Okay, so what is bucket then? Now the bucket now becomes the container. Okay, bucket is the container for objects. In S3, you can't just dump a file on S3. You need to create a bucket first. When you create a bucket, before you can be able to load your objects into the files that you want to upload onto S3, the files that you want to store, okay, you now store them in a bucket. So S3 stores objects or files within buckets. That's the feature number one. The second feature is that S3 is unlimited storage. Now you can store as much as you want in S3. This is opposite to the traditional hard drive that we have. When a hard drive is, let's say, 1 terabyte, okay, if you store data up to the 1 terabyte, either you change it, you use a new drive, or you have to delete or make space on that 1 terabyte so that you can be able to store different things. But S3 is not like that. The more you add up, the more it gives you the chance to keep adding and store. Okay, so that is with unlimited storage. The third one is that S3 is a global service within AWS. Okay, so bucket names, hence bucket names must be unique. Now when you are saving the names of your bucket, it should be unique in the sense that all accounts within AWS access some kind of central place where you store your bucket, okay, where you create your bucket. So if your bucket name is not unique, it will tell you that someone else or the name of that bucket you are trying to create already exists. So your bucket name should always be unique. And the last one is that S3 allows a single file size of 0 bytes to 5 terabytes. Okay, now what this means is that, let's say if I have a PDF file, that PDF file can be as huge as 5 terabytes. S3 is going to allow, or it can be uploaded onto S3. Okay, so if the file size is between 0 to 5 terabytes, a single file size, S3 is going to allow it to upload. All right, Now let's jump quickly to the demo aspect of it. And I want to remind you quickly that if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Okay, so you log onto your AWS account and then you come to the console, management console. Then we type our service S3. You can type it here or you can access it from the recently accessed services. Okay, so we click on S3. We click on create bucket. Okay, so we choose the general purpose. We maintain it as default. Now our bucket name, let's name it AWS bucket. Ownership, we maintain the default. Now the block public access setting. By default, AWS blocks public access to every bucket that you create unless you specifically opens it up to the public. So if I click on uncheck, if I uncheck this button, AWS will actually let you acknowledge that you know actually what you are doing for you to allow bucket to the public. Okay, so we just go back to the default to block all access. Now bucket versioning is when you would want to retrieve or restore every version of object you save in the bucket. So mistakenly, if someone deletes, or if mistakenly you yourself you delete a particular file and versioning is enabled, you can have the previous copy of that particular file available. It's kind of a backup kind of thing, okay, for S3. Then you come to the tags. If you want to label your buckets for monitoring purposes, let's say we can have a tag for department, and then the value can be marketing, meaning that this bucket is created for the marketing department such that you can be able to monitor in terms of cost, in terms of performance and all that. Okay, encryption, we leave it at default. And then we come to advanced settings. We have the object lock. If you enable object lock automatically enables versioning. What this does is that it locks the bucket such that any accidental deletion is prevented. If you actually want to delete any bucket, you have to follow some steps before you can be able to delete. So prevents accidental deletion. Okay, so we now click on create bucket. I think there's an error somewhere. Okay, so it's telling us that bucket with the same name already exists. Like I made mention, S3 is a global service, so your bucket name should be uniquely identified. So now let's type in a unique name. Let's say cloud tech with sun. Then we click on create bucket. Okay, so our bucket has been created for us. Okay, so let's go into our bucket. There is nothing in the bucket. We can create a folder in the bucket, but get to know that the bucket name is the root folder. So any folder you create within the bucket will become a subfolder or a subdirectory. Okay, so the bucket name becomes the root folder or the root directory of it. So we create a folder. Let's name it music folder. Okay, everything other thing maintains default. We click on create folder. Okay, so our folder is created here. We click on that and we open the folder. Now we would want to upload something, a file, into our music folder. So click on upload. Now you can upload a single file or files, or you can upload the whole folder together with its content. Okay, so you click on add file, it opens for us, then we upload, click on upload. and then depending on how large the file is and your internet connectivity, the speed, it will determine how long the time is going to upload. So our file has been uploaded successfully to my bucket S3 service. My bucket name, there's a folder within it, the music folder. That's where it's been uploaded to. So the file is just 14 megabytes. Okay, so we close it, we go back, and when you click on this, it gives you a metadata of the file you have uploaded. What type of file is it, the size, region, the S3 URI, the ARN, and all that. So this is just a data about your file that you have uploaded. Okay, we click on this. Now it tells us access denied. This is because we have blocked access to public access. Remember when we were creating the bucket, we said that everything within the bucket or the bucket itself is not accessible to the public. Okay, so that is why it is giving us access denied. Now there is a way we can look into it internally without going outward. So we just click on the file and we go to open. Okay, so the file is open here and it begins to play our music for us. Okay, so that is how you can be able to access the bucket within S3. This is not public access, it's serving the content within S3. Okay, so now if we want to delete the bucket, now let's go back to our bucket. Let's click on this. We want to delete the bucket. Now if you want to delete the bucket, you first of all need to empty the contents of that particular bucket. Delete or empty that content in the particular bucket, everything in it, before you can be able to delete the bucket. So let's click on empty bucket, and it's telling us that if you want to permanently delete all objects in the bucket, the CloudTech with some bucket, we need to type permanently delete to be sure that we actually want to delete. So I'm going to type it wrongly on purpose. Now if you type wrongly, the empty button will not be activated. So you just need to check your spellings and then make sure it's correct before it is activated for you to empty it. So you click on empty, and then it tells us 2 objects have been emptied. One was a folder and the other one was the music file itself. Okay, so 2 objects. We click on exit before we can now be able to delete. Click on the bucket name and then you go to delete. It's telling us to type the name of our bucket to confirm that we actually want to delete. So so I click on delete and then the bucket is deleted. If this tutorial has been of help to you or has provided value to you, please subscribe to the channel, share for others to know, like and put in your comment. I'll be glad to answer all of them. See you in the next video.